Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Jumping straight into the action after what we were expecting to be an eventful weekend, especially in the UK. Matti is back here in his basement, and Matti, what's cooking?
Yeah, well, let's before jumping to the UK, let's look a little bit the overall perspective from the from the whole European angle. And I think now you have seen in the news that we opened the borders and lockdown kind of eased the lockdown, but still it's the load levels are more or less the same than the previous week, or actually the whole COVID-19 period. So around 57 terawatt hours per week, 13% down compared to last year. So definitely based on this number, the economic activity or the activity is not visible in these numbers. But
Right.
this is, I think, it's something that we are used to now already to see that emissions down, zero renewables up, coal down, and so on. So kind of in that sense, pretty basic stuff. But let's jump to the UK. And I think that before we talk about the weekend, I think we need to have one celebration here, because I think it was you who mentioned about the coal. So now if we take the 10th of April, 10th of May, so the full month, UK has been without coal for the full month. And I think that's well, for sure that hasn't happened in more than a century. But it's a 1 month. I think is something that it will be in the news for sure. And I think that my bet is that as we said, will it ever come back?
Wow. Well, congratulations to UK for being off the coal wagon then for a month. But I think the next exciting discussion is going to be: are we going to see, 2, 3, 6, 12 months of this?
Yeah.
Wow.
And once again, what can we learn about this period? That yes, we survive without coal. Can we develop the system a little bit further? Once again, the procedures, how we need to prepare for this. Is there a really reason to bring coal back again? And I think that's the reflection for the weekend. What happened during the weekend also, that we start to see things first time, that they ramp down nuclear plants because they just don't have enough flexibility, or they can put all the resources there into the system. So we start to see many things that are happening first time.
Right. So what happened, Matti, over the weekend? Yeah.
So first of all, as you can see, once again, the load is still heavily down in the UK. So it's kind of a same level that has been during the COVID period, quite heavily down. And here is what we see on Sunday. The windy weather hit UK on Sunday. So it was relatively sunny. Not so windy on Thursday or Friday, Saturday, and Sunday was a windy day. So it was in the news last week. I think it was the Thursday that they ramped down the Sizewell B nuclear power plant, or reduced the output of that. And it's actually visible here if we take that day there. So the share of renewable, Mr. Rimal is there. So share of renewables jumped to 55% during that day. As you can see then here, heavily windy day, but not so sunny day actually. So we will come back to that if they got lucky or what did they do there. But really windy day, and they ramped down the nuclear plant slightly there. And if we look at that then from the dispatch point of view, so of course this was in the news, and even the government or the national grid paid to EDF to do these actions. So of course that got a lot of publicity, but on the other hand, from the whole system perspective, was that such a big deal? Of course, it's as I said, this happened first time now. So nuclear is here around 5.5 gigawatts. Still on Saturday has been on that level before that, so around 5 or so. So and then it ramped down here to around 4.9, so 500-600 megawatts what they ramped down. yes, of course, for one nuclear plant, it's a big deal. But if you look the gas at the same time, so gas was still 10 gigawatts on Saturday evening, and then it went to 4 at this time. So they are doing tenfold bigger ramping.
Right.
And as you can see, they are doing that actually every day. How the gas is doing the evening peak during the day. So they use the flexibility, they use the transmission that is there exporting fully. The prices go to zero, and you can see that the wind is blowing heavily during Sunday. But
right.
guess were they lucky or that it wasn't so sunny day on Sunday anymore there, but they survived. But I think I would talk more about this, that what is such a big deal from the system perspective. Actually, what was the impact of the nuclear plants compared to other form of flexibility, what was actually giving the response then.
Right. So I mean, we clearly see here flexibility does indeed come from the gas, and maybe then if I'm reading you correctly here, if we look at the Sizewell remedy, if we want to call it that, is maybe just the beginning of something, or how do you see it?
Yeah, I would actually definitely call it that way. That it's a beginning of something that this is the first time I've seen that the nuclear plants are asked to ramp down because there's too much renewables in the system and the load is so low. So but once again, this is a snapshot to the future, what kind of power systems we're gonna see in the future. So this is first time something happened, but at the same time, the gas, the transmission, they're providing the flexibility on the everyday basis. But as said, this is a beginning of something new, and that's why it's so interesting for sure.
So that would be interesting to see then if the Sunday wind obviously took the evening peak there, but the solar power was then either behind clouds or somewhere else. It looks like, I mean, looking at the trend over the previous couple of days here, it really took it looks like they were lucky, if you just look at the data without knowing what happened.
Yeah, and of course that it definitely has been a kind of low pressure coming from Atlantic, so that there is at least windy. But actually to that point, the solar point, that something that I like about this data visualization, that people talk about that, of course, that massive amount of renewables and in the systems, but look Germany. This was eye-opening to me, even though I have been looking the data for a while. So you can see that now that the weather, the wind is coming to Germany, guys, 6 hours later. So it's coming there. So it's ramping up. But look, the solar what they got in Germany during these days. So it's like 30 gigawatts, which is the number. They have even higher. I think the maximum is something like definitely beyond that. But around 30 gigawatts of solar. But look the other generation, so that how massive the share of solar is. It's kind of you need to combine basically all the other that you come up with the solar. So it's kind of eye-opening to look these nowadays, that it's already so massive. And now if we talk about 30 gigawatts of solar here, and how does it look like, but we can definitely find days when we had 40 gigawatts of wind at the same time, and and that's something that when that happens in Germany is going to be an interesting day. But at least for me, it was really eye-opening to see that it's kind of about 30 gigawatts, and then the next what they use is gas that is 6 or 7. So
right. Well, I think that says a lot about the dynamic of the current system here. And indeed, like you said, it's the transition. The transition really fast forwarded in a way, no?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that when we go now towards the summer and see sunnier and sunnier weather, also that this is getting getting somehow
Yeah.
more and more interesting across the Europe. But yeah, once again, the flexibility is definitely, if something is visible there, that the role of flexibility is definitely something. Now you need to even use nuclear power to get that flexibility.
Yeah.
Role of gas. We talk a little bit about the storage one week, but I think we will talk more about that, how storage is making more money. So it's kind of evident that that's the name of the game now for the future.
Super interesting again, Matti. Thanks a lot for the analysis. I think what to look out for here then is indeed what is the business case for as we move into the summer season with even more solar, and what's going to happen then to these less flexible sources of generation, and of course, importantly, what's going to happen to the business case for these companies themselves, because clearly with negative prices and high volatility, it's a big challenge still. Stay tuned for our coming podcast. We're going to take this further and with more analysis and with more angles on it. And please continue the conversation and speak to you soon.